Have you ever wondered why one simple belief can change a life while years of struggle leave another life exactly the same? Two people may work equally hard, dream equally big, and pray with the same hope, yet their paths unfold in completely different ways. The difference is often invisible. It cannot be measured with a clock or seen with the eyes. It lives quietly beneath every thought, every choice, and every expectation. It is the assumption a person carries about themselves. Everything begins there. Before success becomes visible, it first becomes believable. Before abundance appears in your hands, it quietly settles into your heart. Before the world recognizes your value, you begin recognizing it within yourself. Life has long reflected the deepest beliefs we hold, even when we are unaware of them. What feels true inside gradually becomes visible outside. This is why the one assumption that changes everything is beautifully simple. Assume that life is already working in your favor. Not because everything looks perfect today, not because every problem has disappeared, but because you have chosen to trust something greater than appearances. When this assumption becomes natural, your entire relationship with life begins changing. You stop waking each morning wondering what might go wrong. Instead, you quietly expect goodness. You begin noticing opportunities where you once noticed obstacles. Your mind no longer searches for reasons to worry. It begins searching for reasons to be grateful. Imagine walking through a magnificent garden. One person enters believing beauty surrounds them. Their eyes immediately find colorful flowers, singing birds, and gentle streams. Another enters believing nothing special exists. They notice only dry leaves and fading petals. The garden remained the same. Only the assumption changed. Life behaves much the same way. Your assumption becomes the lens through which every experience is interpreted. Perhaps you have carried the quiet belief that success is difficult. Maybe you assumed wealthy people are simply lucky. Perhaps somewhere deep inside, you accepted the idea that happiness belongs to other people, but somehow not to you. These assumptions may have been inherited from childhood conversations, difficult experiences, or years of disappointment, but inherited beliefs are not permanent truths. They are simply stories repeated until they felt familiar. The beautiful news is that familiarity can change. Every day offers another opportunity to choose a better story. Think about a child learning to ride a bicycle. At first, every movement feels uncertain. The child falls, stands up, and tries again. Yet somewhere inside remains the simple assumption that riding is possible. That belief quietly carries them through every failure until balance finally arrives. Adults often reverse this process. Instead of believing first, they wait for proof. They say they will believe in themselves after success appears. They will feel worthy after money arrives. They will become peaceful after life becomes easier. Yet life gently whispers another way. Become inwardly first. Everything else follows. The greatest transformation is never forced. It is accepted. Imagine standing before a mirror every morning. If the reflection appears tired, you do not polish the mirror hoping your face will change. You understand the reflection faithfully follows what stands before it. The outer world behaves with remarkable honesty. It reflects the assumptions standing before it. This understanding is not meant to create pressure. It is meant to create freedom. Because if your assumptions helped shape yesterday, they can also shape tomorrow. Nothing is fixed. Nothing is final. Every assumption is simply an invitation extended toward your future. Imagine someone planting an orchard. They do not spend every hour wondering whether the trees secretly dislike them. They water the soil, trust the process, and allow nature to unfold. Faith removes unnecessary struggle. The same quiet faith belongs in your dreams. You do not need to force abundance. You prepare yourself to receive it. You do not chase confidence. You become someone who naturally expresses it. Now allow yourself to become completely relaxed. Take a slow breath. Feel your body becoming wonderfully calm. Every breath carries away another layer of tension. Your shoulders soften, your heartbeat becomes peaceful. The outside world grows quiet until only your breathing remains. Imagine yourself walking through a wide valley just before sunset. Golden light stretches across endless green fields. Gentle wind brushes against your skin. The air carries the fresh scent of pine trees and blooming flowers. In the distance, you hear flowing water and birds returning home. Every step feels effortless. You are not rushing. You are not searching. You simply know you are exactly where you belong. Far ahead, resting upon a peaceful hillside, stands an extraordinary home unlike anything you have ever imagined. Its windows glow warmly beneath the evening sky. Elegant gardens surround it. Tall trees sway gently in the breeze. A beautiful fountain sparkles beneath the fading sunlight. As you walk closer, an unexpected feeling fills your heart. This place feels familiar. Not because you have visited before, because it has always existed within your deepest dreams. The front door slowly opens. You step inside, soft music fills the air. Sunlight dances across polished floors. Every room radiates warmth, beauty, and quiet luxury. Nothing feels excessive. Everything feels perfectly aligned. You notice photographs upon the walls. They tell the story of a joyful life, meaningful travels, loving relationships, successful achievements, moments of genuine peace. You smile because you recognize the person in every picture. It is you. You continue walking until you enter a spacious study overlooking mountains and shimmering lakes. Shelves filled with beautiful books surround the room. A warm fireplace glows softly nearby. Standing beside the window is someone whose presence immediately fills you with peace. They turn toward you. It is the wealthiest version of yourself, not simply wealthy in money, wealthy in confidence, wealthy in wisdom, wealthy in love, wealthy in freedom. Their eyes shine with quiet certainty. Their posture reflects complete ease. Nothing about them feels rushed. Nothing feels forced. They welcome you with a gentle smile that says everything words cannot. Without speaking, they invite you to walk beside them. Together you move through a beautiful day in this extraordinary life. You sit in meetings where your ideas are valued. People listen carefully because your confidence comes from authenticity rather than ego. You make decisions calmly. Every opportunity feels aligned. You glance at your phone. Messages arrive confirming successful investments, new partnerships, meaningful invitations, unexpected blessings. Money flows naturally because your value flows naturally. You no longer fear wealth, you steward it wisely. You travel across breathtaking landscapes. Luxury hotels welcome you warmly. You share unforgettable meals with people who inspire your soul. Your generosity quietly changes lives. Your family smiles with peace because security now surrounds them. Every room you enter feels lighter because you carry light within yourself. Then your future self gently places a hand upon your heart. Instantly, something beautiful happens. You realize there has never been any distance between you. The successful version was never waiting somewhere ahead. They have always lived within your imagination, patiently waiting for your agreement. You breathe deeply. Their confidence becomes yours. Their gratitude becomes yours. Their peace becomes yours. Their abundance becomes yours. The old identity quietly dissolves like morning mist beneath the rising sun. Only one person remains, Wool. Confident, prosperous, completely at peace. Stay here for a few moments. Feel how natural abundance feels. Feel how effortless confidence feels. Notice that nothing had to be forced. Everything simply became accepted. As this feeling settles deeply into your heart, understand that this is how lasting transformation always begins. Quietly, gently, naturally. The greatest changes are rarely dramatic in the beginning. They begin as invisible decisions made within the heart. A simple assumption becomes a new identity. A new identity creates new expectations. New expectations quietly reshape daily choices. And those choices slowly build a completely different life. When you leave this moment, carry only one assumption with you. You assume that you are already becoming the person your dreams require. Assume that every experience is preparing you rather than punishing you. Assume that every closed door is guiding you toward a better one. Assume that abundance is not chasing you because it was never separate from you. Assume that your value does not rise or fall with circumstances. Assume that life delights in revealing new possibilities through you. Walk gently with this assumption. Protect it. Return to it whenever doubt appears, because the assumption you consistently nurture becomes the reality you eventually recognize. And perhaps one quiet morning you will look around at a life filled with peace, prosperity, meaningful work, loving relationships, and financial freedom, and you will smile, not because everything arrived by accident, but because you finally chose the one assumption that changed everything without ever needing to force it. The beautiful thing about a new assumption is that it asks very little from you, yet it quietly gives you everything. It does not demand perfection. It does not ask you to ignore reality or pretend that challenges do not exist. It simply invites you to see yourself from a higher place. It reminds you that circumstances are temporary visitors, while identity is the permanent home from which your life is built. There will be days when everything seems to support your new belief. Opportunities will appear, conversations will inspire you, unexpected blessings will arrive, and you will smile because your heart recognizes the quiet harmony between your inner world and your outer experience. But there will also be ordinary days, days that feel uneventful, days when nothing remarkable seems to happen. Do not underestimate those days. A river carves through stone not because of one powerful moment, but because it continues flowing without abandoning its nature. In the same way, your consistent assumption quietly reshapes your future, even when you cannot yet measure the progress. This is why patience is not passive. Patience is faith that has become peaceful. Imagine an artist standing before a blank canvas. The first brushstroke hardly resembles the masterpiece held within the artist's imagination. If someone walked into the studio after only a few strokes, they might wonder whether anything meaningful was happening at all. But the artist never doubts the finished painting. Every stroke belongs. Every color has purpose. Every layer contributes to something greater. Your life unfolds with similar beauty. Every conversation, every lesson, every unexpected turn becomes another brushstroke upon a masterpiece that only your deeper wisdom can already see. Sometimes people ask why they continue repeating the same patterns despite wanting something different. The answer is often hidden in a simple habit. They have changed their goals without changing their assumptions. They dream about abundance while secretly assuming scarcity. They desire love while assuming rejection. They seek success while assuming failure. The heart cannot travel confidently toward a destination it quietly believes does not exist. This is why inner agreement is so powerful. When your thoughts, emotions, expectations, and identity begin moving together, life starts feeling surprisingly effortless. You stop pulling against yourself, your energy becomes focused instead of divided. Decisions become simpler because they naturally arise from the person you believe yourself to be. Imagine trying to row a boat while one oar pulls forward and the other pulls backward. Tremendous effort creates very little movement. The problem is not strength. The problem is direction. Many people unknowingly live this way. One thought says, I deserve abundance. Another whispers, people like me never become wealthy. One moment they imagine success, the next they expect disappointment. No wonder they feel exhausted. The invitation today is not to work harder, it is to become inwardly united. Let every part of you quietly agree that your highest life is not only possible but already unfolding. When this agreement becomes natural, you begin noticing subtle changes that others might overlook. You smile more easily. Your posture changes. You speak with calm confidence instead of nervous urgency. You become a better listener because you are no longer consumed by fear. You make wiser financial decisions because abundance has replaced desperation. You stop chasing every opportunity and begin recognizing the ones that truly belong to you. The remarkable thing is that these changes often happen before any dramatic external results appear. The tree begins growing beneath the soil long before anyone sees green leaves reaching toward the sky. Your invisible growth deserves the same respect. There is a quiet strength in honoring what cannot yet be seen. Think about dawn. For a long time, the horizon appears completely dark. Then, almost imperceptibly, the sky begins changing. The darkness does not disappear all at once. Light arrives so gently that many people fail to notice the exact moment everything begins transforming. Your life often changes in the same peaceful way. One healthier thought, one calmer reaction, one courageous decision, one grateful morning, one loving assumption repeated again and again. Then one day, you realize you have become someone entirely different, not because you forced yourself to change, because you allowed a higher truth to become familiar. The world often celebrates dramatic breakthroughs while overlooking quiet consistency. Yet the greatest transformations rarely announce themselves with noise. They unfold in silence. They mature through repetition. They become stable because they were never rushed. There is something deeply comforting about this. It means you do not have to hurry your own becoming. The oak tree never envies the wildflower. The mountain never competes with the ocean. Each fulfills its purpose by remaining faithful to its own design. Your journey deserves that same gentle respect. Perhaps your dream is to build great wealth. Perhaps it is to create meaningful work. Perhaps it is to bless your family with security, freedom, and opportunity. Whatever your vision may be, never reduce it to money alone. Money is beautiful because of what it allows love to accomplish. It creates choices. It creates generosity. It creates freedom to serve, to create, to travel, to learn, to give, and to live with dignity. When abundance becomes an expression of love rather than fear, your relationship with wealth transforms completely. You stop seeing prosperity as something selfish. You begin seeing it as something sacred. Imagine holding a lamp in a dark room. The purpose of the lamp is not to admire its own light. Its purpose is to illuminate everything around it. Your prosperity carries a similar purpose. The more light you allow yourself to receive, the more light you are able to share. This understanding removes guilt. It replaces it with gratitude. Soon you discover another beautiful shift. You no longer celebrate only the destination. You begin loving the person you are becoming along the way. Every challenge becomes an invitation to respond differently. Every delay becomes another opportunity to strengthen trust. Every success becomes a reminder that life faithfully reflects the assumptions you have quietly protected. There will still be moments when old voices attempt to return. They may remind you of past failures or invite you to revisit familiar fears. Listen without becoming attached. Those voices belong to an identity that is gently fading away. Imagine autumn leaves resting upon a peaceful river. They drift by without resistance. You watch them come. You watch them go. You never mistake them for the river itself. Thoughts are much the same. Not every thought deserves your agreement. Choose carefully which ones you welcome into the home of your heart. For the heart eventually becomes whatever it repeatedly embraces. And once you truly understand this, you begin living with a new kind of awareness. Every morning becomes an opportunity to strengthen the assumption that is quietly creating your future. Every conversation becomes a chance to speak from confidence instead of fear. Every evening becomes a sacred return to the identity you have chosen to cultivate. Little by little, this way of living becomes so natural that you stop wondering whether your life will change and instead begin discovering just how deeply one faithful assumption can transform every part of who you are. And now there is only one invitation remaining: be still. Not because there is nothing left to do, but because there is finally nothing left to fear. The deepest transformations are never loud. They arrive like the first light before sunrise, quiet, gentle, certain. You rarely notice the exact moment darkness becomes morning, yet suddenly the entire world is filled with light. In the same way, the assumption you have chosen today is already becoming the atmosphere of your tomorrow. Let your heart rest here for a moment. Feel how peaceful it is to stop arguing with your own greatness. Feel how freeing it is to stop asking whether you are worthy. Worthiness was never something waiting in your future. It has always been the quiet truth waiting beneath every doubt. You were never asked to earn the right to dream. You were never asked to prove your value before receiving abundance. You were only asked to believe what has always been true about you. From this moment forward, become deeply aware of the conversations you have with yourself. The world hears your voice. Your future hears your inner words. Every sentence spoken within becomes a gentle instruction to your life. When you repeatedly say, "I always struggle," life faithfully reflects that expectation. When you quietly begin saying, "Everything is unfolding for my highest good," your world begins organizing itself around that new belief. Your inner words are not empty sounds. They are living seeds. Speak them with love, water them with gratitude, protect them with faith, lime them time to grow. Never speak carelessly about your own future. Never describe yourself as powerless. Never rehearse stories that keep you small. The person you are becoming deserves better language. Speak as someone whose life is expanding. Think as someone already guided. Choose as someone already worthy. Walk as someone already blessed. There is extraordinary power in the ordinary moments of every day: the quiet thought while making your morning coffee, the gentle expectation as you begin your work, the peaceful gratitude before you close your eyes at night. These simple moments appear insignificant, yet rivers are formed one drop at a time. Forests grow one seed at a time. Great lives are shaped one faithful thought at a time. Perhaps the greatest wealth you will ever possess is not what fills your hands, it is what fills your heart. A heart that trusts, a mind that expects good, a spirit that refuses to surrender its peace. No circumstance can take this wealth away. No disappointment can steal it. No delay can diminish it. Because it no longer depends upon the changing seasons of life. It rests upon something far deeper. It rests upon the quiet certainty that what you consistently become within eventually appears around you. When you truly understand this, gratitude begins flowing naturally, not because every prayer has already become visible, but because you know unseen answers are already moving toward you. You become thankful before the evidence arrives. You celebrate before the applause. You smile before the breakthrough, not from denial, from trust. There is a beautiful maturity in this kind of faith. It no longer needs constant reassurance. It no longer measures progress every hour. It simply remains faithful to the highest vision it has accepted. Imagine standing beside a calm lake at sunrise. The water is perfectly still. The mountains reflect upon its surface with breathtaking clarity. The lake does not struggle to create the reflection. It simply becomes still enough to receive it. Your heart was created in much the same way. The more peaceful your inner world becomes, the more clearly your highest life begins reflecting through it. So release the need to force. Release the need to compare. Relays the habit of measuring yourself against yesterday. You are no longer becoming the person you once hoped to be. You are living from the person you have finally remembered yourself to be. Carry this remembrance into every room you enter. Let it guide every decision you make. Let it shape every conversation you have. Allow kindness to become your strength. Allow confidence to become your posture. Allow gratitude to become your atmosphere. Allow abundance to become your expectation. And when doubt occasionally returns, as old habits sometimes do, welcome it with compassion, but never surrender your identity to it. Simply smile. Take one peaceful breath, return to the assumption you have chosen again and again and again. Not because repetition creates truth, because repetition helps you remember the truth that was always there. One day, perhaps years from now, perhaps much sooner than you imagine, you will pause in the middle of an ordinary afternoon. You will look around your life. You will see peace where there was once anxiety, opportunity where there was once limitation, prosperity where there was once lack, confidence where there was once hesitation, love where there was once fear. And you will realize something that cannot fully be explained with words. The greatest miracle was never the money, never the recognition, never the beautiful home, the successful career, or the freedom you now enjoy. The greatest miracle was the quiet moment when you chose a different assumption about yourself. Everything else simply followed. So let this become the promise you carry for the rest of your life. Guard your inner world as lovingly as you would guard your greatest treasure, for it is your greatest treasure. Fill it with thoughts that strengthen, with words that heal, with visions that inspire, with beliefs that expand. Let every sunrise remind you that new beginnings are always available. Let every sunset remind you that you may release whatever no longer belongs to you. And let every breath remind you that the creative power shaping your future has never been outside you. It has always been gently waiting within your own awareness. Rest in that truth, live from that truth, love through that truth. For the one assumption that changes everything has never been about changing the world first. It has always been the quiet, courageous decision to believe that the highest version of you is already real. And the moment you truly accept that life no longer asks you to force your future, it simply begins reflecting the person you have already become.